Okay, we'll call the meeting to order, 7:07. Can we please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for being patient. We're a few minutes late. We'll open the meeting up to public comment. Just a reminder, public comment, front end of public comment is for agenda items only. Back end, we have a second public comment is for general questions. So, anyone have any agenda item public comments? Okay, we'll close public comments and we'll go into our special presentations this evening. First off is going to be the leaders of the pack, and I think we'll start with the elementary school.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Here with Braden, his classroom teacher, Mrs. Finch, who's also here in the audience. Oh, there she is. She shared that Braden LeBach here is a supportive cheerleader for the school. He is the first to congratulate others on their accomplishments. He is humble, fair, friendly, and awesome. Mrs. Gallagher, the art teacher, said that Braden is a model student. He engages in each art project that he does. He asks thoughtful questions. In addition to being so reliable and hardworking, Braden is also a very kind person. Ms. Hughes shared that Braden, and she's our STEAM teacher, right? She shared that Braden is a social butterfly and he gets along well with his peers. Mrs. McCaffrey, our music teacher, said that Braden is a wonderful student in music. He is always engaged. He participates, he's genuine. He's a positive influence to other students in his class, and she's lucky to have him as a student. Braden, Mr. McCormick and I are very proud of you. Congratulations.
It's like you're on the red carpet. Everybody's calling
One more. Another one. Yeah.
This is the important one. This is the newspaper.
This is the one that makes you famous. Talk to you about that. Right. Okay, so this is from Highland Middle School. We have 8th grader Maya Davis as our January leader of the pack. Her teachers had a bunch of amazing things to say about her, so I'll read a few. There were many more though. So this one's from Ms. Fulmer. She said, Maya leads by quiet example, modeling the behavior of a courageous, engaged, and mature student whenever and wherever she may be. Mr. Peterson said, she always gives her best effort, asks great questions, and does not hesitate to help others. And based on that, I have no doubt that Maya will be successful no matter what she chooses to do in her life. And lastly, Mr. Hogan said, Maya is a born leader. She knows how to encourage, motivate, and give constructive feedback to her peers, which is not easy. I chose Maya as a section leader in choir because she shows care in her work and demonstrates responsibility always. So congratulations, Maya, on being the leader. Come on up.
My knees.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Great, thank you. Thank you, you're the best, thank you.
Don't rush up there, Abby, it's okay. Good evening, everyone. So Highland High School would like to congratulate Abby Paserba for being the January leader of the pack. Her teachers have obviously amazing things to say about her. So Ms. Ferrero said Abby is an incredibly dedicated student. She's kind, friendly, and always willing to help others. Highland is lucky to have students like Abby. Ms. Babineau, I love Abby P. I'm so lucky that I've had her since she was 5 years old. I can tell you that she has always been a model student and one who studies, contemplates, and works hard. Mr. Whitty, Lil Abby, is a student who exemplifies persistence and precision in her schoolwork and on a daily basis. Mr. Rinaldi, who is here this evening. Abby is self-motivated, responsible, and dependable. She brings a positive attitude to class every day and offers help and assignments to other students in class. Mr. Scrow, Abby is kind, resourceful, and one of the hardest and most dedicated students in class. She has established herself as a leader in the classroom and has earned everyone's respect. Ms. Meisel, I'm lucky to start my day when Abby comes into the room first thing in the morning to hang up her coat. She's the whole package, and one of the joys of teaching is getting to know students like her. And Coach Geller added Abby is an easy choice for leader of the pack. She is a mature ninth grader who is willing to go out of her way to add insight to our physical education class. She is a leader and has a perfect, whatever it takes attitude that a teacher and coach look for in student athletes. Congratulations.
Again, on behalf of the entire Board of Education, to all our leaders of the pack, job well done, guys. At this time, whoever wants to leave, I'm sure you got homework and you got a lot of things to do. So those that want to take off, you're welcome to do so, and then we'll continue our meeting. Thank you, congratulations. Okay, we'll continue on with our special presentation this evening. Our business official, Lindsay Idell, will have a history of the Highland tax levy presentation. Again, this is the onset of our budget discussion, so next several months we'll be, really delving into budget discussion. So this is the beginning.
Okay, so hello and welcome to the first presentation of the budget planning for the 23-24 school year. I know you all are excited to talk about numbers right now. So what I wanted to first start out about what we've done so far in our budget planning. In the beginning of December, I met individually with all of the department heads and the principals, talked about their current budget, what they thought next year was going to look like. Within the next couple of weeks, we're gonna talk with them again, finalize things up for their budget and expenses for next year. But for tonight, we're gonna focus on a portion of what makes up our school budget, which is the tax levy. So how do we calculate the tax levy? So the tax levy is calculated by a formula. So there are parts to this formula. So what I wanted to go through tonight was give you a little bit more information on what each of those parts are. So this formula was given to us by the state 12 years ago. So this is how we are calculating it from that point forward. The first part to this is the tax-based growth factor. So the tax-based growth factor is given to us by the state, not the district. The district has no input on this. It is based off of real property and investments. So for the 23-24 school year, that rate that has been given to us is 1.0151. Again, a portion of the formula. The next part of the formula are pilots. So the definition of pilots are payments in lieu of taxes. Basically, this is an agreement between a business and Ulster County, and it comes up with establishing a lower tax payment for those fledgling businesses. So that's another portion that factors into this formula. Another part that I know you've all heard about is the allowable growth factor. This is commonly referred to as the 2% cap. So what this cap does is it mirrors inflation. So when inflation is high, it goes to the 2%. It cannot exceed that 2%. Again, this is only a portion of that formula. It is not the formula in its whole. The other part to the formula are exclusion amounts. So in those exclusions, you can have torts or judgments. Those vary from district to district. Highland does not have any at this point in time. The capital levy also varies from district to district. We'll get a little bit into that later. And ERS and TRS exclusions. So if one district has this exclusion, then all of us have those exclusions. But for this year and the coming year, we do not have to worry about that exclusion from ERS or TRS. But the capital levy exclusion is calculated by the amount of debt approved by the taxpayer less the state aid. So that's what gives us the capital levy exclusions. All of this will come and equal that tax levy limit. Additionally, with these factors, what also factors in is the year prior, which you'll see on this spreadsheet that I show you next, which will give you the tax levy trend for Highland over the past few years. So again, it's a bunch of numbers on a sheet. But what we're going to do is really refer to 22 and 23 to give you that idea. And the board has this presentation in front of them. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the tax levy prior year. So we know in 2022, that tax levy was $29,903,503. So we're automatically going to bring that into that tax levy prior year. Another number that we know we've talked about before was that tax-based growth factor. So for 23, our current year, it was at 1.0083%. Again, it's given to us by the state. Last year, the allowable levy growth factor, again, which is that 2%. Because of inflation, we were able to go to 2%. If you look at the year 2022, that percentage was only 1.23, because that's what the state allowed at that time. So for our current year, we were able to go to 2%. The other number on here is our capital tax levy, which is at 1.3 million. So just like we were saying about the current year, there are no judgments, are no TRS, but that exclusion of the capital levy is in there, which factors into the equation. And then we have our proposed levy at the bottom, which is our current year, which is $30,636,752. So that gave us a levy to levy increase of about 2.45%. So now that we know some of our historical trends, what I'm going to give you now is actually an estimate, a rough estimate of what our 23-24 year is going to look like. So again, we can take a look at all of the numbers that we know that come from the state in our 2024 column. So we know what our prior year levy was because we're currently in that. That's at $30,636,752 that we discussed before. We know that the state gave us our tax base growth factor at that 1.0151. Because of inflation, we know we can go up to that 2% cap again, so that is our allowable levy growth factor. What is estimated on here is the current capital levy, because it is very early to have those exact numbers right now. So what we have is given an estimate of $1.5 million. What this capital levy is pretty much our debt service. So how much money do we have to pay in the year 23-24? So we're currently estimating that right now at $1.5 million. If it changes, so if that levy, that capital tax levy goes up, then the levy as a whole will go up. If that capital levy goes down, then then the levy will go down. So this is giving us an estimate for our proposed levy for the year, which gives us a percent increase levy to levy, again estimated right now at 3.95%. So why is that higher than the 2.45 that we had last year? Well, let's go back and look at the formula. So we see that the tax base growth factor increased. 2023, it was 1.0083 to the given levy the given growth factor by the state for this coming year is 1.0151. So that increased. Our estimated capital levy also is going up from 1.3 to 1.5, and we are still able to go to that 2% cap. So that's giving you that estimate. Now, the final numbers need to be in by March 1st, so by next board meeting, we will have those accurate numbers, so we'll be able to approve it and submit it to the State Comptroller's Office by March 1st. So next is, what else do we need to look forward to in our budget planning process? So the governor's going to release her executive budget proposed numbers, hopefully within the next few weeks. February 21st, we're going to do our second budget presentation, which will be the second portion of what makes up our school budget, which is revenue, other revenue and state aid. So that will be on the February 21st meeting. And then, as I said previously, March 1st, we need to submit that calculation of the tax levy, so that will be in to the State Comptroller's Office by then. And then finally, this just gives you a snapshot of all the things that will be accomplished during the next few months prior to getting to the May 16th budget vote. So that's all I have for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know.
I have a question. Did that model take into account the aid increases for 23-24?
So that is based off of this is just the tax levy.
Okay.
So this is just
So
the
that
tax
next
levy
portion we're getting to aid.
The aid will be on the February 21st meeting. So this was just the one part of the budget as a whole.
Is it, we're going to have additional propositions like a bus proposition or anything of that nature? Are we going to have that presented to us before our regular budget discussion so we can move that along?
Yep, it's in our 5-year plan that was done. There is a proposition for a bus, so I can get that over to you as well.
Good. believe we have a deadline for that, don't we, Lisa? That has to be in, because I know one year we missed it.
It's usually the last week in March, I believe,
Okay.
beginning of
Yeah, I
April.
can verify that, so can you dig that date?
We only have 2 meetings prior to that, so.
Three. There's two.
Well, the last one is March 28th, so I think we have to be in probably prior to that.
Yeah. They're firm
All right.
up now.
Any other discussion regarding the preliminary budget discussion? Okay, we'll move on. Thank you, Lindy. We'll move on to consent items in our consent agenda, which will be from section F through subsections A to D5. And again, if anyone wants to pull a item out, we can have a separate resolution, and we can have separate discussion on that. But right now, it's consent items from F to A, D5. Can I have a motion? Motion by Tom, second by Heather. Any discussion at this point? You want to go on in?
Michael, did you have questions on D4 and 5?
On D4 and the telephones. Yeah, on that contract, because I'm familiar with Windstream, does the Manhattan Telecommunications Company service any other schools in Hudson Valley?
That's all. I'm not sure if they have any other schools in the Hudson Valley. But they offer a particular service that's going to allow us to move over to First Light, which is handling some other schools in the Hudson Valley.
Like who?
I'd have to look at, I don't have that offhand, but I know that they're working with some folks over in Dutchess County.
And are they gonna, is there a T1 conversion happening with that, or they're gonna support copper?
No, so the whole idea was that we are moving away from copper.
Right.
In the past, we did have more dependency on T1. The goal here is that everything is going to be on fiber or over our other existing internet connections.
Right, so they're gonna change that T1 over to a fiber connection.
That's right.
And they look more attractive, correct?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It looks like a more attractive situation than our current.
Yes, yes.
When they have service in the location, or they work through Verizon?
So they're the kind of the intermediary between us and Verizon. So what they're essentially doing is running new fiber lines, dedicated fiber lines from where they currently exist. So for here at the high school, it's about 0.8 of a mile down to Pancake Hollow, and to Pulse Road. And then over at the elementary school, they're also doing another extension over there. So they're bringing the fibers to the building, and then some other upgrades where we actually connect.
So when you have a problem with your phones, are you calling Manhattan? And then they'll dispatch support?
So if we have an issue, depending on what the service is, so MetTel or Manhattan, they're kind of a short-term piece to help allow us to move from Windstream to First Light in a more seamless way, right? Because there's some of our older systems that rely on older technology, copper-based things. Windstream no longer supports, and First Light doesn't really fully support either, so MetTel.
Well, they're moving away from that.
Exactly, so that's what's allowing us to make that connection without risking any type of, service disruption.
And then during the budget, are we gonna hear about the updating of internal equipment to keep pace with that, or?
When you say the budget, what do you mean?
So you mentioned that some of our components here really run on copper systems, not necessarily the fiber.
Right. So what they're doing is they're upgrading everything at.
They'll give you the switches, they're giving you switches.
Exactly, so it's their equipment, they're coming in and they're doing the upgrades at no cost.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So when Light Path, or whatever that other company is, when you have a problem, First Light, Second Light, that's good. When you have a problem, who are you calling?
So we have an account manager there who's been very responsive and helpful and kind of putting together the proposal. He remains with us going forward. And so we have a good contact there. One of the benefits of First Light is they handle all of the work internally. They don't subcontract any of this out. And so we know who we're getting and who to go to whenever there's a problem.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions with the consent agenda?
Sounds like that technology is probably confident, so.
Okay, I believe we have a motion by Tom, second by Heather. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So carried.
So this evening, I do see one of our retirees. We're going to recognize her more fully in June. But Dana McGrath, thank you for your service. She's here with us this evening. I think she deserves a round of applause. And I believe we have our leave replacement for the middle school. I think I saw her here. There she is in the back. We have Julie Giordano, who will be serving as a middle school special education teacher through the end of the school year to replace Eileen McElroy in her retirement. So Julie, thank you for being here this evening. We knew we just got this all done last minute, so I told her that if she wasn't able to make it tonight, we would understand, but she made it. So thank you for being here.
And thank you for making it.
Congratulations. And I don't know if the Osei that is standing in the hallway is Osei 2? Or is Osei 2 your son?
That's Osei 2.
Okay, so Osei the second will be our varsity lacrosse assistant coach. Congratulations and thank you for being here. Did I miss anyone? Oh, there she is. So Sam is going to be, Sam Valentino is here this evening. We just approved the varsity flag football at the meeting 2 meetings ago, and so now this evening we are appointing our coach. So congratulations, Sam. And I apologize if I missed anyone else. There's a lot in that consent agenda, so is there anyone else that I missed in that section? I don't think so, but all right, thank you. Congratulations and thank you all for being here.
Yes. Okay, moving on, our principal's report. Elementary school?
So, here we go. One thing that is not on my report that I would like to highlight, Shelby Babcock, who is our BOCES math liaison. She's been working with us quite actively. Miss Samuels has been scheduling her like crazy, so putting her to work. But anyways, this past few weeks, she and Megan Erickson and Terry Tursky mapped out all the math material from HMH, which you know we signed a multi-year deal with. So now it is completely aligned with New York State standards and our district. And every single grade level got to meet with that team and kind of see what the map looked like, and so that we are on pace, and so that when we hit any said month, everyone's exactly in the same, roughly in the exact same spot, so that there's not like this huge discrepancy of why someone's way ahead of another. The other thing is that they also created some common formative assessments, so that when we do some benchmarking, when we look at some whether or not those skills are being addressed, we can make sure that, again, we're not teaching for like 6 weeks and then this other person's teaching for 3, that we can actually see that there's, growth across the grade. So, like I said, there was a lot of work, and so, I can't thank them enough for putting in that extra work and then the meeting with all the grade levels. So, really, grateful for all that. So, cool. So, thank you.
Any questions for Ian? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My first addition is, Mr. Cartwright got married last month, so I just wanted to say congratulations.
She didn't tell you that she was gonna do that, did she?
Perfect timing, thank you, Mr. Gardner. My second addition is something I forgot to add to my board report, is that next week, Mr. Kenny, Mr. Conklin, Mrs. Sheldon, Mrs. Wade, and Mr. Cartwright on one day and myself on another are going to be taking our 7th graders to the Ulster County BOCES. We're super excited to give them an experience. There won't be any students there, which is awesome, so they're really going to get an opportunity to go into the different classrooms and get hands-on experiences and some things that they can actually see in the immediate future for them. So Mrs. Sheldon and Mr. Kenny, one of their main goals this year was to find ways to have our students connect to things that are in their immediate future, like the Culinary Institute, or things that they could do or see in their high school future. So we're super excited to have our 7th graders go, and they're going to go on 2 separate days so we can have small groups of students. It'll be about 10 students per teacher or for interaction at Ulster BOCES. So that's going to be a great time for them to really see in the near future, which is what our 7th graders need, what they can do and what they can attain. And then as we start talking about scheduling in 8th grade, they're going to have this experience in the back of their mind to see if it's something that they're interested in doing. And that's it.
Any questions for Mary?
All right, thank you so much.
Mr. Murphy.
Good evening, everyone. No additions, just a quick reminder that this Thursday, the music department will be having their rock concert. They are having a guest artist, Mr. Keith Anthony Fluitt, who is a well-known musician that's going to be joining them. So they have a very diverse collection of music they'll be performing, so hopefully some of you can make it. So that's my only reminder. Any questions at all? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a lot of our directors here this evening, so if you have any questions for our directors, just shout them out.
I have a question about, do we have an idea about spring sports and how many are planning on playing and how our numbers look?
I'm sorry, spring sports?
Yeah.
Sign-ups for spring sports would be open on February 13th. It's 30 days before the season starts.
So do we have any idea, projections of what those numbers look like for those sports teams?
As far as the varsity, every varsity team will have a full roster. I don't see no reason why not. I haven't heard anything about from any of the coaches.
What about JV and modified programs?
Modified lacrosse last year was kind of low, so the numbers hopefully will be there. JV softball will be the one we really don't know. I don't know how many students will be testing up for JV, so that could change that.
Okay. I was just checking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I can have that answer, in February we'll know where we're at.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Busker Garage, how are we doing with drivers? Are we still hanging in there?
Yes, we are. And in fact, we've recruited 2 people that have their permits and we're in the process of training them.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you. Cocky, student rep, you're up.
Good evening, everybody. Starting off with the elementary school. I'm glad to see they still do this. I remember when I had to do it. But the 2nd grade team had their annual Martin Luther King Hero Award celebration called Freedom Tea. Students presented awards to their hero and explained why that person was their hero. I don't know if you remember, but he must have been his hero. It was exciting to have the parents back in person than opposed to being on Zoom. Moving on to the middle school. The middle school will be having their first dance this Friday from 6 to 8, which students are very excited about as it is their first one since COVID. They will be having their very own Mr. Hogan, the Highland Middle School music and chorus teacher, acting as the DJ. The student council will also be spearheading a February Spirit Week, so be on the lookout for some different spirit days that they are all very excited about. And wrapping up with the high school, on Thursday, December 22nd, the Interact Club went down to the elementary school and worked with the elementary school students in various classrooms to make Christmas cards for seniors in local nursing homes. And that is all I have. Are there any questions?
Questions? Mike, you don't have a question?
I do. How many cards were created in that event?
How many cards?
Yeah, a couple dozen? or-
Roughly, I think above 100. I think between that 150 range.
There's like 30 high schoolers down and 2 per classroom, so there's,
They produced quite a few for our seniors here in Highland. That's it. That's what I was after. Wonderful.
well over 100.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay, Dr. Boyd.
So at the last meeting, I talked about that our department was starting to plan for our annual reviews. At about this time, we're about 95% of our meetings have been scheduled, and we send out notices to parents so they can start to plan for the date of the meeting. So if there's anybody that will need rescheduling, it gives us some time to make those adjustments. As of now, our meetings will run from March 6th to May 30th. All our drafts are now open, so teachers will begin to input their data as we prepare for those meetings. Big thank you to Ms. Bezad in my office, who really organizes and orchestrates all of that. It's a lot of work in preparation for those meetings. For February 1st, we will be providing our initial service request to BOCES, and that's for across the district. I'll be working with the business office on my end for special education supports that we anticipate needing for the 23-24 school year. And then after that, we'll meet with folks from BOCES to talk about what the final service request looks like. Our county PPS meeting this month will be at PTech. PTech has their official campus, their official program at the SUNY Ulster campus. So as part of our meeting this month, we'll be getting a tour of what that looks like there. From the state end part, we have a comprehensive ELL education plan that we'll be updating by the end of the month, which looks at how we provide services for our ENL students, and we'll be providing our PD reporting, which looks at all the individuals in our district that provide special education and related services, and it asks us to look at estimated how much time that certain employees spend working with students with disabilities. So we'll be working on that as well. And coming up at towards the end of this month, at the end of our second quarter, so we'll be collecting our homeschool progress reports, sending out our IEP progress reports as well. And then lastly, at the end of this month, a while back, we talked about a grant that Ulster County got to support mental health in middle schools for the county. So this has been an ongoing process. So the contract was awarded to the LaSalle school that partnered with the county, and then what LaSalle did was look to hire a clinician and a case manager to work with different schools. So because of our location, we're actually paired with Marlborough, so we're sharing a case manager and a clinician, similar to other areas throughout. In all areas, they're having difficulty finding candidates for the position, but they did finally find a clinician, so we're excited about that. We'll be meeting with them at the end of this month with Ms. Coburn and some of her staff at the middle school to talk about what the rollout of that looks like. And what this really is it's a way to connect outside families with some outside supports and services beyond what we can provide in the school, but also provides a connection with us, so we have some consistency there for the students and the families. So we're excited that they have some staff on board that we can get that rolled out. So at the end of the month, we'll meet on what that looks like moving forward.
Any questions for Dr. Boyd? Okay, thank you.
So, Mr. Zimmer could not be with us this evening, so I have a couple of things to add. So if I talk a little long, and I know you'll think that I talk long as it is, I might talk a little longer. So as you know, we put an RFP out for exploring universal pre-kindergarten, so that monies that are out there we could possibly take advantage of. So Dr. Boyd and Mr. Zimmer and the elementary administration have looked through those RFPs, and we're getting closer to the possibility of offering some seats So it won't be in-house, it'll probably be through local daycare centers, and that was what the RFP was about. So hopefully by February or March, we'll have more solid information as to, one, how much money is out there that we could recoup, but we have to put the money out first for the program, and then we get that money returned. So there was a misnomer last year that we were losing out on funding. You don't get the funding up front, you have to put it out and then reclaim it back. And it's not enough to provide a program for every one of our pre-K students. So there would be a lot of reprocesses, things like that. But again, we're at the very beginning stages. So I just want to thank Dr. Boyd and Mr. Zimmer and the elementary administration, our intern at the elementary school, for doing lots of that groundwork this year. So thank you. We approved tonight our construction management contract, so that we will get in touch with them tomorrow and we'll get signatures on those contracts. And just as an update, CS Arch, our architecture group, has been working very hard to meet the deadline that we had submitted to them of January 31st to send those first stage docs to the state, so that work could be done this academic year, this calendar year. The difficult part with that is there is some backlog in the state. So once we submit those documents, and I know this was a concern that the Support Services Committee had mentioned, once those are submitted, they're in the queue to be reviewed. So we talked about the expedited process, so we'll be looking to do that process, which has a funding formula to go along with that. So as we have more information, we'll let you know. I also want to thank the elementary school and our staff down there. They hosted a group from the Marlborough School District, a group of administrators and educators that came in to look at the different things that we're doing in our reading program, K through 5, as they are looking at making some changes in their program. They know that we were using Teachers College and Foundations and a host of other programs, so they wanted to come in and see how those programs were running. So that happened just before the holiday break. So thank you for the folks that took part in that. As you know, our high school assistant principal has moved on to another position. We did post for that position, anticipated. So we did the first round of screenings. The admin team of Mrs. Coburn, Mr. Murphy, Dr. Boyd, and Mr. Zimmer held screening interviews and are narrowing the pool down to get a round of interviews coming up in the next week. On Monday, this is actually open to the entire community, but I will be attending the Town of Lloyd, this is a mouthful, Town of Lloyd Comprehensive Plan Update Stakeholder Roundtable on January 23rd from 3 to 4:30. Supervisor Plavchek has put this together to bring folks from the community together to talk about the future of the Town of Lloyd. So I'm not really sure what to expect from that, but I'm sure it will be good conversations, and I was thankful that they included me on that invite. So that will be next Monday. Tomorrow, I will be attending the Orange County Emergency Management Seminar in Goshen, talking about reunification protocols, and I'll be bringing information back to our safety teams. So that's tomorrow in Goshen. On October 26th, I will be attending, everything seems to be in Goshen these days, the Mid-Hudson Council of Catskill Council of School Superintendents. There will be a PD by folks from State Ed talking about state funding. So that's on October 26th, and that's it's open to all superintendents in the area. So I'll be going down for that. October. Did I say October? I did, and I wrote October. January 26th. Thank you. Mr. Murphy already told you that the high school rock concert is this Thursday, 7 p.m. There was a flyer in your Friday update, so please take part in that if you can. Our Regents Week is January 24th to the 27th. January 30th, This is from Mr. Zimmer now. He is in the process of beginning planning for a half-day professional development. There will be some technology focus sessions based on staff interest surveys that were done. So targeted at the things that folks said that they wanted more information on. Point of information, Dr. Corey, the BOCES district superintendent, has now officially retired. Dr. Jonah Schenker is now filling in as an interim while they go through that process. Dr. Corey's retirement get-together is one of the first Fridays in February. I wanted to make sure I didn't say October again. And I believe that's open to any board member. If anyone's interested in attending that, just let me know and I can give you more details. We are at that time of year, and you'll get this in this week's Friday update. We are looking for the Distinguished Friends Award. That's a celebration that we go to. We get together with the whole county and we celebrate someone in particular from Highland. I have a suggestion which I will put in my update and then get suggestions from the rest of the board, and then we'll move on from there. You may have seen something from Lisa today. February 15th is New York State School Boards Association Lobby Day in Albany, if anyone is interested in attending that. There's also a virtual Capitol Conference on February 10th from 8:30 to 12:45, obviously virtual, so if you couldn't make it to Albany, if you were available and wanted to attend that, that would be great. I think I made it through. The reunification, I'm all set. Unless anyone has any particular questions.
Just for the UPK program?
Yeah.
Is it going to be full day, half day, or a combination of?
Full day.
Full.
And looking at the different agencies, it'll be dependent upon the time that they do it, but it's about our school day.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions for the superintendent? Okay, on the Board of Education, is there any new business? Any old business? Retreat. I've had a tough couple of weeks, so I'm still working on some dates that's available. I'll shoot them out, hopefully before the end of the week, and then get some feedback on. It'll be in February.
Shoot them out. Oh, do you have a location? Shoot them out in May.
I have a tentative location in Costa River that's going to be able to support us. Nothing local.
And I can get that into my Friday update as well if you get that to me.
Anything else? The old business, new business? Miscellaneous, Lisa sent out an email earlier today regards to RSVP for the Ulster County School Boards Association meeting on January 26th. So if you can get back to Lisa by Wednesday, which is tomorrow,
Yes, please.
the 18th, please, if you're looking to attend. All right, open the meeting up to public comment. Okay, we'll close public comment. Need a motion to go back into executive session for contract negotiation updates for the remaining board members that are not on committees and superintendent's contract discussion. A motion by Camille, second by Janine. We will not reconvene back out, so meeting will end at this point in time. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you, everyone, and happy